Hey, what's up everyone? How are you all doing?
Hi.
Back with another video. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, Jesus Christ, he shaved his head. And the reason for that is, after doing the 2 Hitler Simplified videos, I've really come around to the cause. And, no, it was just pissing me off. And I just thought, see you later.
Getting long, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just thought, see you later, back to basics.
It's like a blank canvas, so you can start from fresh, have what you want.
I get a night tick or a swastika put in the side of my head. Alright.
We're not watching any more Hitler dramas, okay?
It was a joke. Okay, so how much do you know about the Cuban Missile Crisis?
0. Did somebody bomb Cuba?
This should be good. You remember during when we watched The Irishman? And you don't remember, do you?
Yeah, no, go on.
No, and he had to take the missiles down to Florida.
Yeah.
And he had to look out for the guy with big ears.
Yeah.
That was like...
To do with this?
Yeah, to do with this.
Oh, right, okay.
That was kind of briefly. For a short period of that film, it was during the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I don't know anything about this. I'd never even heard of it, to be honest.
Right?
Genuinely. Should I?
Yeah, I've never watched this video, but I know of it, and I've read a bit about it. Right, let's jump straight into it then. Let's go.
The Cuban Missile Crisis, the Cold War, October 1962. The Cuban Missile Crisis was the moment during the Cold War when the two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, came close to nuclear war. Secret communications and miscommunications which played out between the White House and the Kremlin made the crisis a unique event. After the failed Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961 by the Kennedy administration, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev reached a secret agreement with Cuban Premier Fidel Castro to place Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba to deter any further U.S. aggression. For some time, the Soviets had been sending surface-to-air anti-aircraft missiles to Cuba, but President John F. Kennedy did not protest. However, he warned that if offensive weapons were sent to Cuba, that the gravest issues would arise. On October 14, 1962, U.S. U-2 spy planes took several photos showing sites for medium-range and intermediate-range ballistic nuclear missiles under construction in Cuba. Nikita Khrushchev, who had promised not to send offensive weapons to Cuba, had been lying. To help him deal with the crisis, Kennedy assembled a team called the Executive Committee of the National Security Council, or EXCOM for short. At first, they favored bombing Cuba with debate over the scale of the attack. The president decided upon a middle course, and on October 22nd ordered a naval quarantine of Cuba, the term quarantine being used instead of blockade, as blockade assumed a state of war existed. Kennedy sent a letter to Khrushchev stating that the United States would not permit offensive weapons to be delivered to Cuba, demanding that the Soviets dismantle the missile bases and return all offensive weapons to the USSR. He also went on national television to inform the public of the crisis, in which he said, "It shall be the policy of the nation to regard any nuclear missiles launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States, requiring a full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union." On October 24th, Khrushchev responded to Kennedy describing the U.S. blockade as an act of aggression, and the Soviet ships sent to Cuba would be ordered to keep going. Some Soviet ships turned back, and others proceeded. They were stopped by the U.S. naval forces but were discovered to contain no offensive weapons. Nevertheless, U.S. reconnaissance flights over Cuba indicated the Soviet missile sites were nearing operational readiness. With no clear solution to the crisis, the U.S. forces were put at DEFCON 2. On 26th through 27th October, Khrushchev...
So it's worth knowing that all the public kind of was following this in the paper at the time.
Yeah.
So imagine knowing, say finding out that Ireland had nuclear missiles and it was in range of the UK, and then at any point they could fire them.
Yeah. Why would Cuba need missiles? Cuba's tiny.
Because Cuba's a communist state.
Right.
And obviously Russia and a lot of the East at the time was communist, and obviously America or the West was at war with communism at the time. So the fact that Cuba's so close to America and they were good friends with Russia, it was kind of scary for America.
Yeah.
Sent Kennedy a message stating that the USSR would remove missiles from Cuba in return for a promise from the United States not to invade the island. Resolution to the crisis was now looking hopeful, but later, a second letter was sent by Khrushchev which provoked debate again. It demanded that the deal would also require the removal of U.S. Jupiter missiles from Turkey. That same day, a U.S. U-2 reconnaissance jet was shot down over Cuba. Kennedy prepared for an attack on Cuba within days as they searched for any remaining diplomatic resolution. That night, Kennedy ignored Khrushchev's second message and proposed to the Soviet Union steps for the removal of Soviet missiles from Cuba under supervision of the United Nations and a guarantee that the United States would not attack Cuba. Attorney General Robert Kennedy was sent to meet secretly with the Soviet ambassador Anatoly Dobrinin and indicated that the United States were planning to remove the Jupiter missiles from Turkey anyway, and within 6 months.
So, like, you get why Russia's pissed, don't it? Because Russia's like, well, you've got missiles in Turkey, that's right next door, so why can't we have missiles in Cuba?
Well, yeah, because then it's only fair. I have a question. Is all this related to why everyone, like, cut ties with Cuba? That's why they ain't got any new stuff?
Well, yeah, because Cuba's a communist country, it's kind of like, it's not stuck in the past, but...
Don't they only have, like, cars from, like, the 60s and that, though, and
I'm sure that...
all that? No one would trade with them, would they?
Yeah, it's hard to trade with Cuba because of like the way their economy's formatted. But
do they have the kind of one where everyone's paid the same no matter what job you have?
Yeah, I think their economy's set up as a socialist economy as well. I'm not entirely sure. Is their economy more? No, it's not similar to China, is it? China's more of an open market. Let me know what Cuba's economy is based off. I think it's a socialist economy.
I don't understand how that works.
What do you mean?
Well, if you think about it, you'd want an important job. Your motivation for working hard to get a good job is the money.
Yeah.
Well, but if you could do something... I mean, obviously, if you're passionate and you want to do that job, then fair enough. But, like, you think to yourself, I could spend years studying and earn the same as someone that's, like, not even been to school.
Well, that's the biggest kind of, like, argument against it, isn't it? Like, humans want to compete with each other and compete within hierarchies, and socialist society just flatlines it all.
This was to be kept top secret. The next morning, on October 28th, Khrushchev issued a public statement that Soviet missiles would be dismantled and removed from Cuba. The crisis was over. The world escaped nuclear war in October 1962, largely because of the cautious natures of Kennedy and Khrushchev. In 1963, a telephone hotline was set up to give instant contact between the two leaders, and a nuclear test ban treaty was signed. In 1968, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty was signed, meaning the superpowers promised not to supply nuclear technology to other countries. Subscribe to see more history videos. Get simple history.
Who has nukes now then? America,
Russia, Britain, France.
Does everyone have them then?
No, there's a lot. I think there's, what is it, like 10 countries with nukes?
Okay.
About 10. That's why, like...
Is it only the trusted countries that can have them?
It's like if you didn't get them back when they were new, you can't have them now. Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, fair.
There's like, well, this is why there's Iran's such a contentious issue, because Iran wants nuclear weapons.
For what?
Well,
you don't need them.
Their argument would be, if you have got them, we can have them, and they could be used for like civilian application. Like they want nuclear power, and they just happen to make weapons as well, stuff like that. But it's like because Iran's seen as such an aggressive nation. Yeah. The rest of the world is hesitant to let them. Well, the West is.
Is it nuclear weapons are the ones that if they launched, they would end the world, though?
One missile wouldn't end the world, but if like Russia and America went to war with each other, then it would be devastating, because every country would probably have to pick sides. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that must have been scary, that point in time, for like the average American citizen, though, isn't it?
How far is Cuba from the coast then? It's not far, is it? I
think it's like an hour flight from Florida.
Oh my gosh! So if you was on the bottom half of America, you'd be fucked.
Yeah. Well, it was. Where was it? It was everywhere from. I think they went as far as Dallas. Where was it? There's a good little graph at one point. Yeah, look.
Oh yeah.
So look, you can take out like the whole eastern seaboard, really.
Yeah.
That must have been frightening, man. I was listening to someone talk. I think it was actually Jordan Peterson, and he was on about. He used to have like real fears of just like nuclear detonations going off at any time, and that.
Really?
And it was similar for a lot of American citizens. Well, I know he's Canadian, but for a lot of people living in America at the time, it would have been horrible.
I know. Yeah.
That's why during like The Irishman, when they're taking weapons down, that was for the Bay of Pigs. That was like when America invaded Cuba, so the mafia was like, in the film.
Yeah.
I don't know if it happened in real life, to be honest. Maybe it did, but
You never know. People, you don't know who they get involved in things like that, I suppose.
yeah. If there's any more similar videos like this, definitely let us know if you want us to react, because they're just so easy to absorb, aren't they? Like,
Yeah, and I didn't know. I'd never heard of this.
to be fair, this isn't ever touched upon in UK education.
I feel like it's important though, in a way, like for something to be such a huge.
Yeah, a lot of people would argue this is the closest the world's ever come to ending. Like, because it seemed pretty glossy in this, like it was just brushed over pretty easy.
Yeah.
But this was over the course of like a few months, and it was a lot more intense than it was. Like,
I wonder how many people thought about like moving, like out of the range.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or out of the country.
I've saw them shows. I'm not sure. Well, you guys would obviously see them, but there's like people in America that are just like ready for Armageddon. Like they live in bunkers and
yeah,
have you seen
and
them?
they're like ready for the end of the world, aren't they? With the...
honestly crazy. Like they've just got like fucking hundreds of tins of beans and like just live in a fallout shelter.
Because you don't know what's going to end the world though. Like you get people. I watched a whole program on someone that had like a bunker ready for like the zombie apocalypse, and it was just full of weapons and like it was sick.
Well, if you go on the NHS website, this would be fun. If you go on the NHS website, there's actually a process for in case of a zombie outbreak.
It's coming, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you can actually find it on there, and it's just what to do in case of a zombie outbreak. And it's just weird that that's on the government website.
I feel like preparing for a zombie outbreak is good gym motivation.
Fair enough.
I need to get fit.
Right, and we've rambled again. We always do this at the end of a video. But thanks for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And definitely let us know if there's any more like videos like this, this kind of format. Because they're so easy to absorb and enjoyable to watch. But yeah, peace out. Thanks for joining us, and take it easy.